Good morning. I'm doing Daf Lamed Dalet now from the Mishnah. This Daf is the Daf of the first day Pesach. It's been recorded before Pesach simply because with all the matzah or the viruses we can't get together to learn it on Yom Tov. So it's been recorded before so that if you have an opportunity to hear it before Yom Tov or after Yom Tov, you can be mashed and complete the Daf. I'd also like to make a mention, we thank you to Moshe Sinitsky for helping set up all the technology that this should hopefully work well. So we're doing now Daf Lamed Daled Amud Aleph from the Mishnah, about 10 lines from the top. Says the Mishnah, Shloisha Dvarim, there are three things. Tzarich Adam Noima B'Seich Beisoi Erev Shabbos. A person should say at home before Shabbos comes in, Im Chashecha, close to darkness. Why can't you say it early in the day? If you say it too early in the day, people will think, I've got loads of time, and they won't take any notice. If you say it too close to Shabbos, they won't have time to sort it out. So you have to find the right time, not too early in the day that they think they've got a long time to sort themselves out, and not too late in the day that it's too late to prepare themselves. So what are the three things? They saltam. Have you taken Maisa? The halacha is that one is allowed to eat fruit b'derech arai, in a temporary way, without taking tumas hamaisus. But Shabbos, because of the chashivos of eating tasty food on Shabbos, even eating b'derech arai on Shabbos, a small amount, is kiveh lemaisa. So therefore, the halacha is that you have to take tumas hamaisus from all fruit that you're going to eat on Shabbos, even those you're going to eat b'derech arai. Have you done Eruvin? There are two basic Eruvin we're discussing here. One is Eruv Tchumin and one is Eruv Chatzeros. Eruv Tchumin is if a person wants to travel more than 2,000 amos, so then he has to put some food at the end of the 2,000 amos to tell them that way is Kodesh Shavisa. It's considered as if his home is the end of the 2,000 amos, and then he's allowed to walk another 2,000 amos afterwards. Alternatively, Eruv Tchumin over here refers to Eruv Chatzeros, where a few houses open up into one courtyard. When we do our body, not allowed to carry from the house into the chotzer. If you make an eruv, it is permitted. And finally, the third thing you have to say is adlikus hanei, light the Shabbos candles. Rashi points out the first two is beloshin question. Isartem, have you taken ma'aser? Iravtem, have you done eruv? But the third one, you can't ask it as a question because anybody can see is the candle lit or not. Only it's an instruction. Hadlikos aneh, light the candle. The other two you can't know. Did they take tumas hamaisus? Have they done eruvin or not? So therefore you have to ask, have you done it or not? The third one, hadlikos aneh, that's an instruction. It's not a question. Everybody can see whether it's been done or not. Sofik chashecha, sofik enu chashecha. If it's a sofik, if it's Shabbos, if it's dark or not, then ein masnes avadai. Not allowed to take maisa from food which definitely needs maisa taken from. Taking maisa, it's forbidden on Shabbos. Why? Because it looks like tikkun moneh. It's what did I say to Rabbanon? Because it's misakin, you're being misakin the fruit. You're not allowed to travel things on Shabbos. Again, the same reason, it's tikkun. That's obvious. You can't light the Shabbos candles because it's suffix Shabbos, it's a deraisa. You're not take mais from Tamai. Tamai is produce brought from an Amoritz, where most Amoratzim take to some Isis. So therefore, there's no problem of Tikkun, Arvin, and you are Latik Eruv, which the Gemara is going to ask in a minute. How can you say Latik Eruv? Before you said you have to ask them, have you done Eruv before Shabbos comes in? With Tumim Nesachamin, you're allowed to do Hatmono. You're allowed to do Hatmono by Ben Hashmoshes, and again the Gemara discusses why. Says, well, we know in the middle, where do we know from that's important for a person to give these instructions, to instruct his family? The Ben Yehuda explains Shalom refers to peace, meaning the candles are lit, because when there's no candles, as we mentioned before, people are stumbling around in the dark, so then they get irritable. And you shall instruct, you shall take note of your household, and then you won't do averos. So we see from this pasuk, this ikka message of the pasuk of And when a person gives instructions, he will not do averos. It's fascinating is that in the book All for the Boss, he traveled once to Europe, and every Friday afternoon he would send a telegram, which in those days was very expensive, reminding his wife what time lighting Shabbos candles is. Person has to take note and try and give instructions that people should know that he should be saying to his family that with the instructions of Shabbos. Even though the Chacham said you have to say these three instructions, you should say it gently, in order that they should accept it. People never accept something which is said harshly. So if you want people to listen, it has to be said gently. I never heard it. But I kept it from logic. That means even without being told, I realized that if I want anybody to listen, I have to say it in the derech nichusa. Says the Gemara, Hogufa Kasha. That's a selfish shred. The Mishnah itself is shred. Almost you said, and before it's dark, yes. That means the Mishnah first starts off by saying these are halachas that you have to do before it gets dark. And mashba, the once it's suffix dark, you're not allowed to. That when you're not sure if it's Shabbos or not, me'arav, then you're allowed to do Eruv, which is a contradiction. In the beginning of the Mishnah, you say you have to instruct the family and ask them, have you done Eruvin, mashma, that you have to ask them before, when you're sure it's still before Shabbos. And then the Mishnah carries on that when it's suffix Shabbos, when it's suffix Nashmoshes, you're allowed to. And it says, Simon begufe zimro tzifo bechevra denos. This is an interesting simon. Usually when the Gemara brings a simon, it's for the next few halachos which is said. Here, it is for all the different answers, all the different times of Abba or B'chir Barashi is mentioned in the whole of Masechah Shabbos. That means we will see that he's mentioned a number of times in Masechah Shabbos, and this is a simon to remember all the times that he's mentioned in the whole Masechta. So over here, Begufe is going on the Gemara's Kasha, Hogufa Kasha. The Gemara said the words Hogufa Kasha, you yourself are shver. So the Gemara uses the word as simon Begufe. That means when it comes to Uvei Tchumen, you have to do it before Ben Hashmoshes. And Uvei Chatzeros, you're allowed to do it even Ben Hashmoshes. Why? The reason is because Tchumen is, according to some shitters, there's a Issa Deraisa to travel too far. And even those that don't hold its Deraisa, hold its Derabanon, there's a smachta, there's a source, there's a Mekoy in the Torah that we have episomekoy to tell us the halachas that to teach us the ideas of Uvei Tchumen. Since we have some sort of mekoy for it, so therefore it is much more chomer. There's no mekoy for it whatsoever. It's only a drabon. So therefore, since it's only drabonon, so we're saying safek drabonon lekula. So again, when it's safek Shabbos, we allow you to do drabonons which are got no mekoy in the Torah, so because safek drabonon lekula. But when it's safek Shabbos, you can't do anything which could have a proper mekoy in the Torah. And since Uvei Tchumen has a proper mekoy in the Torah, so therefore we don't allow you to do Uvei Tchumen. So when the Mishnah says Ravtem, it's referring to a Uvei Tchumen because that you have to be before Shabbos. And when the Mishnah says at the end when you're allowed to Eruvin, it is again when the Mishnah says about the Torah you're allowed to Eruv, that's a Uvei Chatzeros, that's referring to a Uvei Chatzeros. Says the Gemara, Omar two people say to him, say v'arev lanu. You can do Eruv Tchumen with a shliach. Let's say you want to walk a long walk on Shabbos. So you want to put down your bread at the end of 2,000 amos. And it's a bit of a distance. So what you can do is, you can ask somebody else to take the bread and put it down for you. So what happens if two people say to you, two separate people, Reuven and Shimon, and they say to Levi, will you go and put bread down for us? And not necessarily do they want bread in the same place. Each one wants to travel in a different direction. So off Levi goes to do a Uvei Tchumen for Reuven and Shimon. So two people said to him, say go and do Eruv Tchumen for us. For one of them, he put it down when it was still definitely Friday. And for the other one, by the time he got around to putting the Eruv Tchumen down, it was already Ben Hashmoshes. And the one that he put it down when it was definitely Friday, Nechali Ruvain ben Hashmoshes. By the time he came to ben Hashmoshes, a dog or another stranger went and ate it up. V'zeh Shiur lo ben Hashmoshes. The one you put it down for ben Hashmoshes, Nechali Ruvain mishechashecha. The eruv was gotten went and got eaten once it was dark. That means once it was nacht, somebody went and ate it up. Shneim kanu eruv. Both of them are being kind of the eruv. The halacha is for an eruv to be chal eruv etchumin. It's the moment of bin hashmoshes. During bin hashmoshes, that is when eruv tchumin is chal. So therefore, you have to have bread by bin hashmoshes sitting. That means more than that. It has to be when Shabbos comes in. The moment that Shabbos comes in, that is the time that the eruv tchumin is chal. So now, one person, I put it, let's say Levi went and put it down for Uvein before bin hashmoshes. By the time it came to bin hashmoshes, it got eaten. The other person, he put it down for bin hashmoshes, and by the time it got tonight, it got eaten. Once it's eaten, it's no good, because it has to be that there should be bread there. As long as there was bread there, during when Shabbos came in, that's okay. So no one doesn't understand, how can Rova be so mekon? Monafshach. Ibn hashmoshes in momo. If you consider bin hashmoshes be like day, so therefore when the first person, you put it down before Shabbos, and then it got eaten by Shabbos, by bin hashmoshes, basra likni. The second one did a good job, because you put it down in Hashmosh, got eaten by Nacht. So by the time you got eaten, it was ready Shabbos in. But the first person should be kind of Shvisa, should be kind of Tchumen. Why not? Because since you only put it down, it got eaten by Ben Hashmoshes. So therefore, the first one, should be kind of Tchumen. Even Hashmoshes Leila Yehu. If you consider Ben Hashmoshes to be night, Kamo Likni. So then the first person, if it's Leilu Kamalikni, the first person did a good job. You did a good job for the first person. Why? Because you put it down for him when it was Bin Hashmoshes. You put it down for him Friday afternoon, and it only got eaten Bin Hashmoshes, which by then it's already night. But the second one should be Chumin. Why? Because you only put it down for him by Bin Hashmoshes. And since you only put it down for him by Bin Hashmoshes, by the time you put it down for him, it's already night, and it's too late. You have to put down the bread before it's night. Answers the Gemara. So the second person should be kind of Answers the Gemara. Ben Hashmoshes feikehu. Ben Hashmoshes is safek. This feike do abon lekulo. That means Ben Hashmoshes. Rashi explains this. Ben Hashmoshes really is a safek deraisa. Is it Shabbos? Is it not Shabbos? And it's a shine in Shabbos. But the halachas of Uvei Tchumen is only do abon. So therefore, since this is a sofik, and legabe Uvei Tchumen, it's a sofik d'Rabbanan. So therefore, we say sofik d'Rabbanan lekula, and therefore it is okay. We're talking now the halachas of Atmona. The Atmona, there are two distinct halachas. There is something called Davar Moisef Hevel and Davar She'einu Moisef Hevel. Davar Moisef Hevel is when you put Hatmona, is to wrap around a cooked pot of food. And the Chazan made two separate isur. One isur is Davar Moisef Hevel. Davar Moisef Hevel is you wrap around with something that actually adds the heat. Davar She'einu Moisef Hevel is something that doesn't add the heat. It just makes sure that the heat doesn't go down. So if you wrap a pot in a blanket, that's Davar She'einu Moisef Hevel. Because a blanket doesn't add heat, all it does is it makes sure the heat doesn't dissipate. Davar HaMoisef Hevel is if you wrap up your pot with something which, let's say, for example, it's got its own source of heat. Let's say an electric blanket, or something the Gemara talks about where you've got a fertilizer which actually produces heat. So if you wrap your pot in fertilizer which produces heat, that's Davar HaMoisef Hevel. So there are two isurim. There's something called Davar She'einu Moisef Hevel and Davar HaMoisef Hevel. Something which adds heat and doesn't add heat. Regarding Davar Moisef Hevel, one's not allowed to do it even on Friday. Davar She'einu Moisef Hevel, you're only not allowed to do it on Shabbos. So, if on Friday afternoon you wrap around with something which is Moisef Hevel, which adds heat, let's say fertilizer which produces only heat, it is also to do it even on Friday afternoon, even if it's not Shabbos yet. And Davar She'einu Moisef Hevel, something which doesn't add heat, you're not allowed to do it on Shabbos, but on Friday you're allowed to. So let's say, for example, you see that your oven's not doing very well with your gas. You're allowed to, on Friday afternoon, take your cholent pot or your chicken off the gas and wrap it in a blanket. Why? Because a blanket is Davar She'einu Moisef Hevel, and you're doing it on Friday afternoon. But you're not allowed to do it on Shabbos. So the Gemara says like this: Why not allowed to do atmona with something which doesn't add heat? Once it's dark, once it's Shabbos. Answers well. He explains. Says why? He might come to heat it up. That means when you take the pot on Shabbat Friday night and you see that the gas is not doing very well, so you decide that what you're going to do is you're going to wrap it up in a blanket. The problem is, as you put it into a blanket, you'll feel it and you'll say, hey, it's not really doing so well, it's not so hot. And then you might come to heat it up. And now heating it up is a bishul on Shabbos. That means in the process of doing atmona, you might get so concerned that you might start heating it up and do bishul on Shabbos. Our Mishnah says that you're allowed to do atmona bin hashmoshes. According to you, there's a proper issa d'rabbanon. There's a chashash you might come to cook, and we just said when there's a proper issa d'rabbanon, you're not allowed to do it bin hashmoshes. So bin hashmoshes as well, you should be gozer. Homalei stam gederis v'yischasein. That by bin hashmoshes, most people what they would do is they would stoke a fire Friday afternoon, cook their food, and then they would hope that the food would stay hot for Shabbos. So now, when it comes to Friday night, they would come and wrap it up. The problem is, if by Friday night they would see that the food is cold, they might come to cook it, and that's why Rava says you're not allowed to add Timona, but Dova Shina Moisef Heaven. Says the Gemara, says Rava, but Ben Hashmoshes, it's not been so long off the flame. Since it's not been so long off the flame, I can be confident that what will happen is that it is definitely hot at the time. And if I'm not choishish, that you might come to stoke it and start cooking it again. By the time it comes to Ben Hashmoshes, they're cooked. And this comes to interesting halacha. Normally, the reason we'll make it by Ben Hashmoshes is because since Ben Hashmoshes is Sofik Yom, Sofik Laila, we're not sure if it's Shabbos or not Shabbos. So therefore, since we're not sure if it's Shabbos or not, therefore we'll make it because it's the Sofik. Here, Rav is saying that's not the reason why we'll make it to do Atmona by Ben Hashmoshes. Because that would not be enough of a reason. Because since Ben Hashmoshes is Sofik Shabbos, so there should be a Issa d'Rabbanon of Atmona, and Sofik d'Rabbanon over here we say by Ben Hashmoshes you're not allowed to do Issa d'Rabbanon, therefore it should be also. The reason we make it over here by Ben Hashmoshes is not just because it's a Sofik Shabbos, but more than that, because since by Ben Hashmoshes most foods are still hot, and what is the chashash of atmona? Is that since you're likely to see that the food has cooled down, you might come to cook it again. By Ben Hashmoshes, we're not choshesh that, because by Ben Hashmoshes, most food's already cooked, and since most food's already cooked, therefore we're not choshesh that you'll come to start cooking it again. Rama Rava says Rava, top of Lamadala Domit base, why did we say, Ein toimim medova amoisef ever, that when it comes to Dova Moisef Hevel, something which adds heat, you're not allowed to Atmona Vafilmi Boijoim even on Friday. This is one of the biggest shilas of Shem Zaman just before he was Nifter, got very, very busy with this. The crock pot. The crock pot is a pot within a slow cooker. It's a pot within a pot. So what happens is you put the pot inside the pot, and if you're doing Atmona Bedova HaMoisef Hevel, and this the Gemara says is forbidden, Vafilmi Boijoim, you're not even allowed to do it on Friday. Let's say to wrap up your pot in an electric blanket or into a fertilizer which produces heat, it's forbidden to do it on Friday. This is a big shaila. Is it considered atmona or not? So are you allowed to? So why? Rav asked the kasha. Why can't you do atmona to Mamis Veber? Why is it asked to do it even on Friday? So the answer is that you might come to do atmona with ashes that has a coal. Let him do that. Who cares? Since we're discussing Friday afternoon, so who cares if he does atmona with ashes that got coals inside it? The halacha is you're allowed to cook on Friday. So what's the problem? Answers the Gemara, that what will happen is if we allow a person to do atmona with Davar Moisef on Friday, and then you might come to sometimes do atmona with something which has got coals inside. And then they'll be wrapped around with ashes which got coals. And he'll leave it there the whole Shabbos. And then what will happen is, Friday night he'll look at it, and he'll see that his atmona hasn't been working all that well. So what he'll do is, he'll start stoking the coals around the pot. And that's no good, because then he's doing mamish bishul on Shabbos. And because of that, it is forbidden. So again, Davar she'eino moisef hevel is only asa on Shabbos. And the reason is because you might see the pot has cooled down and you might come to cook it again. That's also on Friday. And the reason is because you might do atmona with coals. And once you do atmona with coals, you might come to stoke it. And when you stoke it, you might come to stoke it even on Shabbos. And that's why you're not allowed to do atmona with Davar Moisef Hevel even on Friday afternoon, because you might then come to stoke the coals on Shabbos. Next Gemara discusses Ben Hashmoshes. This is one of the most complicated and interesting shilas, intricate shilas in Halachas Shabbos. What exactly is Ben Hashmoshes? When does it start? When does it end? It has huge ramifications and tremendous amount of shittas. As much as we can do, it's interesting to do. Ben Hashmoshes, Safik min hayom u'min halayla. The one that establishes that Ben Hashmoshes, there are three different options. Before we define when is Ben Hashmoshes, the Gemara explains that regarding the etzem time of Ben Hashmoshes, there are three ways to view it. We'll say it first outside. It could either be the whole Ben Hashmoshes is daytime. It could either be that the whole Ben Hashmoshes is nighttime. Or it could be that Ben Hashmoshes is a mixture of day and night. That means, let's say we were to say that Nacht is 6 o'clock. And from 5:30 till 6 is Ben Hashmoshes. We could say as follows: that half an hour could be, we're not sure if it's all day and then the night starts at 6. Or Ben Hashmoshes really is the whole thing is night, and then 5:30 is Nacht, and from 5:30 to 6 it's all Shabbos. Or that between 5:30 and 6 is a mixture. It's a mixture of Shabbos and weekday together. Half Shabbos, half weekday, half Shabbos. The reason it's called Ben Hashmoshes, the word Shemesh means sun. Ben Hashmoshes between the suns. The question is, why is the time, the end of the day, called Ben Hashmoshes, between the suns? Some explain that the sun often represents the day. Shemesh, a day is the sun. So Ben Hashmoshes means between the days. This is a time period between 2 days when we're not clearly defined if it's the first day or the second day. So the Mona establishes there are three tzadim to guard Ben Hashmoshes. Ben Hashmoshes, Safik min hayom u'min halayla. It could be a bit of day, a bit of night. Safik, perhaps it could be Kulu min hayom, the whole thing's from the day before. Safik, Kulu min halayla, or it's a Safik, maybe the entire thing is from the next night. Matilin oisei lechumesh neyamim. So therefore we go to the chumrah of both days. So for example, Ben Hashmoshes Friday night, you're not allowed to do malachas because it might be nacht already from 5:30 to 6. It might be nacht, and from 5:30 you're not allowed to do malachas because it might be nacht already, and it might already be Friday night, and therefore you're not allowed to do malachas. And the next day when it's Motzei Shabbos, you can't do malachas either from 5:30 to 6. Why? Because it might still be the previous day, and therefore the chumrah of both days. We put on him, we put on him the chumrah of both days. Now the Gemara says, but when is Ben Hashmoshes? When the sun sets, while the eastern is still red. Obviously we know that the sun sets in the west. But when the sun sets in the west, what happens is the eastern sky gets red. This is something which people are not so aware. Everybody knows that the western sky gets red. If you look carefully, I remember once standing and singing Talmud Chacham, standing in the middle of the road, in the middle of the pavement, looking around the skies. I asked him what's he doing, and he said to me he's looking to see, because it was a very clear day, and you could see the western sky becoming red just by Shiur. So when the you could see the eastern sky become red. The eastern sky becoming red by Shiur. So Gemara says when the eastern sky is red from Shiur, while the eastern sky is red, that is called Ben Hashmoshes. It's called while the eastern sky is red. Now, there are two parts to the sky, the lower part of the sky and the upper part of the sky. The lower part of the sky gets darker before the upper part of the sky. So the Brisa carries on. If the lower part of the sky gets black, dark, but the top of the sky does not get black, Ben Hashmoshes, that is still Ben Hashmoshes. The Gemara later is going to ask that this seems to be contradicting before. Before we said when is Ben Hashmoshes when the sky is red, not black. And now we're saying that while the lower part is black, it's still Ben Hashmoshes as long as the top part is not black. Which is mashma that when the sky is black, it's Ben Hashmoshes, not red. So that's a contradiction. Again, the lower part becomes black, but not the top. Ben Hashmoshes, that is Ben Hashmoshes. if the top becomes black and it becomes equally, it's like the tachton, also like the tachton is equal to the tachton, it also becomes black. Zeu lailo, that is now properly night. Divrei Rabbi Yehuda, that's Shittas Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda's Shitta is basically from when the sun sets from Shkia, from when the sun sets for a considerable amount of time until the sky becomes black. That is considered ben hashmoshes. From the amount of time that it takes a person to walk half a mil is 2,000 amos, approximately a kilometer. Half a mil is 1,000 amos, which the poets can say usually takes about 9 minutes to walk that. So from when the sun sets, for 9 minutes, that is chatzi mil, the amount of time it takes to walk half a mil, that is ben hashmoshes. And after that, it is already nightfall. Rabbi Yehuda seems to be much longer. Rabbi Yehuda's got a much longer time. And the Chem has got a shorter time. Ben hashmoshes k'heref ayin, like the blink of an eye. Rashi seems to add the blink of an eye, gentle blink, not a hard blink. When you blink tight, then what happens is it takes longer. A gentle blink. Ze nichnas, the day comes in, v'ze yoytze, and the other day goes out. It literally takes a split second. V'ef ze yoytze, and this one comes out. Ze nichnas, ze yoytze, this one comes in, and this one goes out. One day comes in, one day goes out. V'ef shalamid olav, it's impossible to get that moment. It's impossible to to stand on it, meaning to have in mind when that moment is. Omama, natilin oise lechayma shnei yomim. That ben hashmoshes has the chumrah of both days. Lemay hilchasa, what halacha does it have? What halacha does it have? That means it's got the halacha that we're not sure if it is Shabbos. That means we're not sure if it's the day before, the day after. So that's very clear that we said already that if it's, let's say, ben hashmoshes of Friday night, you have to be choshesh that maybe it's already Shabbos. And if it's ben hashmoshes of Motzei Shabbos, you have to be choshesh maybe it's still Shabbos. But what way are we machmir l'shnei yomim that we have to consider it as if it's 2 days? Lemay hilchasa, which halacha? Omar v'hona beid Rav Yishua in Tumah regarding Tumah. Because it's not like learned in the Mishnah. Before we go through this Mishnah is talk about Zov. We have to have a few halachas, a few introductions regarding the halachas of Zov. A Zov is somebody who has an emission which is similar but not the same to Shichva Zera. The halacha is that it depends how many emissions he has, is what his level is. If he only has one re'iyah, he only sees once, he's Tomei just for that day, he goes to mikvah and he's Torah that night. If he sees twice, he's Tomei for 7 days, he has to wait for Shiva Nekim. If he sees 3 times, he's Tomei for 7 days, plus he has to bring a korban. So if he sees once, he's Tomei for 1 day, twice he's Tomei for 7 days, 3 times he has to even bring a korban. These 3 re'iyahs, they can be all in 1 day. Let's say 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, he saw 3 different times. Straight away, he's now become what's called a Zav Gedolah. He has to be Tomei for 7 days plus a korban, even though he saw it all in 1 day. They can also be on separate days. You can see Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. The halacha is that now he's Tomei for 7 days, and he will have to bring a korban. They cannot be, though, on non-consecutive days. Let's say he sees Sunday, then Tuesday, then Wednesday. Then we say Sunday was 1 re'iyah, he's Tomei for 1 day. Monday he never saw, so he cancelled the entire re'iyah. Then Tuesday, Wednesday he saw, so he sees for 2 days, therefore he's Tomei for 7 days, but does not need to bring a korban. These are all the halachas of Zov. Again, he sees once he's Tomei for 1 day, twice he's Tomei for 7 days, 3 times he's Tomei for 7 days plus a korban. These 3 years can be all on 1 day or all on consecutive days. But if there are non-consecutive days, let's say he sees once, then he misses out a day, then we start from scratch. Furthermore, if he sees once for a long time, it's all considered 1 re'iyah. But if the 1 re'iyah carries on over 2 days, let's say he starts seeing on Sunday. Let's say he sees on Sunday from 9 o'clock till 11 o'clock, that's called 1 re'iyah. He saw for 2 hours straight, that's 1 re'iyah. But let's say he sees from Sunday all the way through to Monday. Since he saw on 2 days, even though it was 1 re'iyah, it's considered as if he saw twice. So let's say he saw from Sunday all the way into Monday, so that's 2 re'iyahs, and then again on Tuesday. So then it's considered as if he saw 3 times, he's Tomei for 7 days, plus he needs to bring a korban. These are all the halachas that we have to introduce. Once we've got all these halachas clear, Now we can understand what we mean when we say that bin hashmoshes has the chumrah of both days, as if both days are included in it. How is that? Because it's not. Let's see the Mishnah inside. Yomi bin hashmoshes. If he sees 2 days bin hashmoshes, let's say he sees Sunday night bin hashmoshes, Monday night bin hashmoshes. Sofik letumah is a sofik which if he's tummy, v'lekorban, and whether he has to be a korban. Why? This is a bit of a cheshbon, but if you hold with, it is quite straightforward. He sees Sunday night and Monday night. There are many different options it could be. He sees Sunday bin hashmoshes, Monday bin hashmoshes. When he saw bin hashmoshes, it could be that the bin hashmoshes on Sunday means he saw Sunday. The bin hashmoshes on Monday means he saw Tuesday. And therefore he never saw Monday at all, because we will say the bin hashmoshes on Sunday was part of Sunday, bin hashmoshes on Monday was already Tuesday night. And if we never saw Monday at all, so therefore he saw once, and then he skipped a day, and then he saw again. So therefore he's only tummy each time for 1 day. And if all he needs to do is wait for Erev Shemesh, and he's time. So he might only have a tumah 1 day. Alternatively, it might be that the bin hashmoshes on Sunday is Sunday, bin hashmoshes on Monday is Monday, and therefore he saw 2 consecutive days is tummy for 7 days. Alternatively, bin hashmoshes on Sunday was Monday, bin hashmoshes on Monday was really Tuesday, and then he saw again Monday, Tuesday, and therefore he's tummy for 7 days again, because it was 2 consecutive days. Alternatively, it could be that each Bein Hashmoshes was 2 days, and then for each Ve'iyah, that means for Sunday's Ve'iyah alone, you'll be tummy for 7 days, because he saw Bein Hashmoshes on Sunday, that's the beginning of Sunday, and a bit on Monday. And he saw Bein Hashmoshes on Monday, was a bit of Monday, and a bit of Tuesday, so therefore you'd be tummy for 7 days, plus now you'd have to bring a korban. Because if we say that either Sunday's Ve'iyah is 2 days, or Monday's Ve'iyah is 2 days, plus he saw the other day, so therefore, he's now actually seeing for 3 days. Seeing for 3 days makes him tummy for 7 days plus a korban. So that means there are 3 different shilas regarding this person. Could be he's only tummy for 1 day. That is if he saw Sunday and then Tuesday, but not Monday. Could be that he's tummy for 7 days, as if he saw Sunday, Monday, or Monday, Tuesday. Alternatively, it could be tummy for 7 days, plus he needs to bring a korban. That's if he saw Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, because the bin hashmoshes of Sunday was Sunday and Monday, and the hashmoshes of Tuesday was Monday was Tuesday. So therefore, it's a suffix letumah, and v'le korban is a suffix for korban. If he only sees once bin hashmoshes, suffix letumah is a suffix for tumah. Either we say that he saw 1 day, meaning that he considered either Sunday or Monday, and therefore he's only tumah for 1 day, or maybe by seeing bin hashmoshes, it's considered as if he saw for 2 days. And therefore he's sofik letumah, that maybe he's tamei for 7 days. Says the Gemara, Hogu for Kasha. Oh, so that's the end of that Gemara. So the Gemara is clear, that's the nafkemina when we say that bin hashmoshes could be a combination of 2 days. What's the nafkemina? The nafkemina is for this halacha. If we were to say bin hashmoshes is either 1 day or the other, is either Sunday or Monday, then he would never have a shiloh when he sees one bin hashmoshes if he's tamei for 7 days. Because we would say clearly, either he saw Sunday or Monday, we just don't know which, therefore he only saw once. But now that we say bin hashmoshes is a time which could be Sunday or Monday, or it could be both, it could be the day and the night, so therefore now we consider as if he saw 2 days, and therefore in the last case his tummy may be 7 days, and in the first case it could be even that he has to bring a korban. Why? Because we don't look at bin hashmoshes either 1 day or the other. In fact, bin hashmoshes could be either 1 day or the other, but it can also be a combination of both days. So therefore, that's why it has got all the chumras. Hogufa kasha, almost. Now we're asking this kasha, which we mentioned before, that you said earlier that bin hashmoshes is bin hashmoshes, but shetishka achamo cause mash b'nei mizrach ma'adimin, while the eastern the sky is red. But if the sky gets black, dark, but the top never got dark, Lilo, it's night, because he just said while it's red, it's bin hashmoshes. But while it's dark, it has not bin hashmoshes, but rather Lilo, who is properly night. Then you say, so you say Lilo, it's night. Then you say, if the lower part becomes black, the top part did not become black, then bin hashmoshes, then it's considered bin hashmoshes and not night. So that's a stira. That means, in this Vaisa, Rabbi Yehuda, who's the first shitta, when he discusses what bin hashmoshes is, he says, when the sun sets, while the sky is red, that's one, And then he carries on. While the lower sky is black and the upper sky is not black, that's also bin hashmoshes. What are you talking about? You've just before said between the sky is red. If the lower part is black, the top part is not black, it's bin hashmoshes, it's a stira. You have to learn it together as if it's one statement. What is bin hashmoshes? When the sun sets, while the eastern side is red, and that as well, bin hashmoshes. That if the lower part of the sky gets black, and if the top part is not black, nami bin hashmoshes, that's also bin hashmoshes, nami that as well bin hashmoshes. That's also bin hashmoshes, and therefore not just when the sky is red, but when the sky is black, as long as the top part is not black. But but once that again, then that's bin hashmoshes. But if once the top becomes black, like the lower part, then laila, then it's indeed night. According to this shitta, bin hashmoshes is very, very long, because bin hashmoshes starts when the sun sets and continues while the eastern sky is red, and continues all the way till the eastern sky becomes black, as long as the top of the eastern sky doesn't get black. But once it all gets black, like the lower part, then laila, then it's indeed night. He says slightly different. Then this is what you have to say. This is what it says. Once the sun sets and while the eastern sky is red, Yomi. If it's still red, Yomi, that's still part of the day, and that's not yet bin hashmoshes. It's still part. It's definitely Friday. But once the lower part becomes black, and the upper part does not become black, then that is bin hashmoshes. Bin hashmoshes is when the lower part becomes black and the top part is not black, then bin hashmoshes, that is indeed bin hashmoshes. But if the top becomes black, and becomes equal to the bottom, lailo, then it's night. Then it becomes then it is lailo, then it is night. So according to this second opinion, when the sky is red, it is not bin hashmoshes. It is still day. And when it's bin hashmoshes, only when the lower sky becomes black. And when the lower and the top sky become black, then it's properly night. So again, we've got machlokas in Shittas Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi says in Shittas Rabbi Yehuda that when the sky gets red and while it stays red and black, then it is all bin hashmoshes. Once the whole thing becomes black, it's night. Rabbi Yosef says no. While it's red, it's day. While it is black, the lower part has been hashmoshes. When everything becomes black, then it is night. Once it's black in the top and it's equal to the bottom, then it's like a night. Says the Gemara, they go according to their own shittas. How long has been hashmoshes for? 3 parts of a mil. Now the Gemara tries to examine what does it mean 3 parts of a mil. Next Gemara is quite logical, quite easy. It's hard to understand why the more you need to spell it out. But what does it mean 3 parts of a mil? What does it mean 3 parts of a mil? If you meant 3 halves of a mil, name a mil or mechza. The more correct way of saying it is a mil and a half. If you meant 3/3 of a mil, name a mil. If it means Tulsa mil, 3/3 of a mil, name a mil. You should just say a mil. You don't say 3/3 of a mil. Nobody speaks like that. You say a mil. It means 3/4 of a mil. That means if I say 3 parts of a mil, I don't mean 3 halves, because I say 1/2 mil. I don't mean 3/3, because now I just say 1 mil. I mean 3/4. Tulsa with a mil, 3/4 of a mil. Tulsa with a mil. Rabbi Yosef Amar Yehuda Mashmo. 2 parts of a mil. And now the Gemara examines it again. What does it mean 2 parts of a mil? If it means 2 halves, if it means 2 halves of a mil, what should he have said? obviously lema mil. You should just say a mil. If I say two halves, if I say two parts, and I mean two halves, I should just say mil, a whole mil. Did he mean 2/4 of a mil? That's also no good. But a trade with a mil, 2/4 of a mil, that also doesn't make sense. Why not? Lema chatzi mil. He should just say half a mil. If I'm saying two parts and I mean 2/4, I shouldn't say 2 parts of a mil. I should just say lema chatzi mil. I should just say half a mil. Hello. What did he mean? Top of Lamed Hey Amud Aleph. Shrei tilsei mil. 2/3 of a mil. So Rabba said 3 parts. Rabbi Yosef said 2 parts. I think more explains. Rabba means 3/4, because otherwise 3 doesn't mean it makes sense in any other way. You can't mean 3/3 because just it's a whole one, or 3 halves means 1.5. So it means 3/4. Rabbi Yosef says 2, and we explained that the only way it makes sense is if it's 2/3. So one says 3/4 mil, and one says trei tilsei mil. One says elo trei tilsei mil, 2/3 of a mil. Maybe now, what is the difference between 2/3 and 3/4? So if you ever had to break down fractions, which I'm sure you did in school, and now you have to work out what's the difference between 2/3 and 3/4. Okay, but now the difference is palga danka, half of a sixth. A sixth, half of a sixth is a 12th. A 12th is the difference between 2/3 and 3/4. The way to work it out is very simple. If you break down the fractions into 12ths, 3/4 of 12 is 9/12. 3/4 is 9/12. 9 out of 12 is 3/4. If you say 2/3 of 12 is 8 out of 12, because 8 out of 12 is exactly 2/3. A third is 4 of 12, so 2/3 is 8 out of 12. So the difference between 3/4 and 2/3 is the difference between 8/12 and 9/12, which is a half of a sixth. So it's a 12 is the difference between Rabbi Yosef and Rabba of a mil. We said a mil is about 18 minutes. So the difference between Rabba and Rabbi Yosef is 1.5 minutes. Now, since they argued about 2 and 3, the Gemara now brings another machlokas, which has nothing to do with bin hashmoshes, where it happens to be the Rabba and Rabbi Yosef say the opposite of each other regarding the numbers 2 and 3. The chilufa bechalsa, the opposite regarding a beehive. Either we're discussing a very big beehive, or we're talking about a basket in the shape of a beehive. What the halacha is that something which is very, very big, you're not allowed to move it on Shabbos. You're not allowed to move a cupboard on Shabbos, because all kelim, all vessels are allowed to be moved. But kelim are only things that can be moved. Things which are not normally moved are not considered a keli, and therefore you can't move it. The Omar Rabba Chalsa, this beehive or basket shaped beehive, bast straight kuri, if it holds 2 kul, shoyli til tulula. If it's straight kuri, shoyli til tulula, you're allowed to carry it. Bast til also kuri, if it's 3 kul, also little tulula, you're not allowed to carry it. Rabbi Yosef Omar, bast til also kuri, if it's got 3 kul, nami as well, shori, it is permitted. That means 3 kul is also permitted to carry. Bas arbo kuri, if it's got 4 kul, also it is also to bas arbo kuri. If it's got 4 kul, also then bas arbo kuri also it's also to move it because it's too big. Must remember these are quite big kelim. A kul is 30 sa'ah. A sa'ah is 6 calves. We're talking about huge bowls, where according to Rabba, if it's got 2, it is small enough, you're allowed to carry it, 3 not. According to Rabbi Yosef, if it's got 3 kul, you're allowed to carry it, 4 you're not allowed to. And that's the opposite of Rabba and Rabbi Yosef before. And that's what says the chilufa b'chas, the opposite by the beehive, by the basket. Because over here, we say Rabba says 2 and Rabbi Yosef says 3. And previously, when it came to mil, Rabba said 3/4, and Rabbi Yosef said 2/3. Omar Abaya, boy minei dema. I asked Rabba himself, B'shas Maisa, when I needed to move this kind of basket. At the time when I needed to move it, even though it was only 2 kul, lo shorali, he did not permit me. It means even though Rabba said once that you're allowed to, when I came to ask him, at the time when I needed it, lo shorali, he did not permit it. And he did not allow me, lo shorali, he did not permit me to move it. Command, why did not permit it? Kahai Tana, that's not. Like this Mishnah, like this Tana that now we learned in the Mishnah. This Mishnah is talking about Tumah v'Tar. The halacha is that a keli of wood is only metame if it can be carried full and empty. The reason is because the Torah mentions the Tumah of a wooden keli in the same breath, in the same pasuk, as the tumah of a sackcloth, a bag, a sack. A sack is carried when it is full and when it is empty. Since the Torah mentions them both together, therefore we learn from there that only a wooden keli that can be carried when it's full and when it is empty comes tummy. If it is such a big wooden keli that when it's full it cannot be moved, then it is not metame. It is not metame. If you've got a very, very, very big wooden cupboard which cannot be moved when it's full, then it is not tummy if a tummy person touches it, because it's not similar to the sackcloth, the sack, which the Torah says is tummy, and that's only tummy, and that can be carried. It's not kaveros hakash, a big basket made out of straw. The kaveros hakona made out of reeds, or bois fin Alexandris. You have these big ships that would go far, and Rashi points out that in the sea you can't drink any of the water because it's all too salty. So they would take these huge big barrels to fill it up with water. So this Alexandria ship, which has got a boil like a pit, meaning a big barrel, the shape of a pit. Even if they've got shulaim, means a bottom to it, where it means it looks like a keli. When machzikos are boim saw balach, mem saw balach, they hold 40 saw of liquid. Shein kurayim beyovish, which comes to 2 kor beyovish. 2 kor is 60 saw, because we said the kor is 30 saw. Then shein kurayim beyovish, which is 2 kor when it comes to dry produce. Shein kurayim beyovish. Then tahovim, they're toy. They are not tummy if you touch it. Why are they toy? Because they are not movable. So we see from this Mishnah that something which is too cool can't be moved. Since it can't be moved, it doesn't have tumah, it's not like sack. Since it can't be moved, therefore it is mukti, not allowed to move it on Shabbos. And that's why it's considered, that's why when Abaye asked Rabbi, am I allowed to move this very, very big box? Rabbi said to him, no, you're not, even though it only had 2 kor. Now the Mishnah said, by the way, that we're talking about a kind of barrel that can hold 40 saw of liquid, 2 kor, which is 60 saw of dry. How is that possible? The answer is, liquid, if you put too much, it overflows. It can't store more than what can fit inside the actual bowl. But dry products, what happens is, you can do what's called goidesh. You can overload it. You can pile it up and you put it higher and higher and higher. It doesn't always spill over straight away. Now, Omar Abaya, Shmami, no, we see from over here, high gudsha, the overflow, that which you can pile it up, till sahava is a third, because we said by dry it holds 2 kor, which is 60 saw. By liquid it is 40 saw. 60 to 40 is a third more. So we see that the godesh is a third. That means Rashi says we're talking about a specific kind of bowl, where the height of the bowl is half its diameter. That means half the height of the bowl is half its diameter, and the bowl is in the shape of a circle. Then if you were to try and fill it up with a dry produce, not with a liquid produce, you'll be able to add a third more than the liquid produce. Why? Because a dry thing doesn't spill over. And that's where we see that this kind of keli, which can hold 2 kor of liquid, can hold 40 saw of liquid, can hold 2 kor, which is 60 saw of something dry. Okay, we'll stop here because it's a new topic. We'll do another recording with Shem before Pesach, and that's where people can have time to listen to it at different times. That's with everything.